All right. I guess it decided to let me in. I'm Joe Tarosian, and this is RamView.
It's hot out there, but let's blow them off the last screen. Hold on,
Live from the RamCave, I'm Joe Tarosian, and this is RamView, the March 12th, 2025 edition brought to you by Kistler Law Firm. Injured in an auto accident? Need help? Got questions? Call Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. That's Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. And check out KistlerLawFirm.com. That's one word, KistlerLawFirm.com. Kistler Law, they've been fighting for you since 92. And by Temple City Auto Repair. Having some auto issues, get yourself some John and Henry at TempleCityAutoRepair.com. I think you guys that clicked on knew I was here before 5 o'clock. I don't know what the deal was with the technology, but we're here now. I think sometimes when it rains, I think it's got to be the rain. I don't know necessarily. The feed looks good as far as filtering and all that kind of stuff, but we're here now. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being patient, guys. I do appreciate you all sticking with me in this. It's been a crazy couple days for me, a couple crazy days in terms of Ram stuff. And I think you guys have hit it. The Rams have nailed these first few hours of the free agency period. And a lot of doors, a lot of options have opened up to them going forward. And finally, one of the other things we're finally done with today, and I know, again, this sounds heretical. It sounds like heresy. You know, I'll get a nasty emoji. But finally, the Cooper Kupp stuff is done. No one wants to see Cooper Kupp go. And then I'm listening to people say the Rams have done Cooper Kupp dirty to the tune of, what, over $100 million? How much has he made? I'd like somebody to do me that kind of dirty, I tell you. And he knew the game. He comes from an NFL family. He knows the game, and unfortunately, this is the side of the game. And, you know, people talk about loyalty. It's business. It's business, and I'm sorry to see him go, but I'm sorry I had to see him play that last month last year at the end of this last season where even his friend, Matthew Stafford, couldn't find him open and target him. When you have to start saying, I gotta get targets on Cooper Kupp, it means they're not coming naturally. And Kupp couldn't separate. Kupp couldn't get open. And so he's a free agent. And I wish they could have dealt him for a 7th round pick. You know, I always want to pick up an extra pick here and there. Loved Cooper Kupp. It was amazing how he rose and just became something special. And I was getting a little tired of hearing people saying he was a 1-year phenom. No, not if you're a Ram fan. You saw him playing before he got hurt in 2018. You saw him in 2019. You saw him in 2020. He was more than a 1-year guy. And again, when you're hearing that from the KBM, that's when it's time to turn off or time to just kind of push them off to the side, especially when it comes to Ram content. It's like at a certain point, it's like, you know what, dude, you don't know what you're talking about. Kupp was not a 1-year, one-hit wonder. He was playing exceptional in 2022 until he got the high ankle sprain. And then whether or not he got the high ankle sprain or not, there wasn't going to be anyone to throw him the ball the back half of the season. So I don't have to downgrade Cooper Kupp to justify the Rams releasing Cooper Kupp, right? It's just where we were. Sorry to see it happen. If Jackie Robinson could leave the Dodgers and be sold to the Giants, anything is possible. Anything is possible. So Christian Roseboom, we're going to talk about him. We're going to talk about Rams salary cap a little bit. We're going to take a look at the Rams roster. Just who's on the roster as of right now, and then the mock drafts and all those different things we'll be looking at. But let me look at your questions real quick because I do appreciate you guys being here early. Bill, you're the one that nailed it right there at the top as far as my text was. Rams have hit home runs all over the place in free agency. Willie Bowens agrees. Tim Burns agrees. Everyone's there. Tim Burns, wondering who gets DeMarcus targets. Maybe we still get an early receiver. DeMarcus's targets, Mr. Burns, better go to Tutu Atwell for 10 rocks. If they're not going to Tutu Atwell, or those touches aren't going to Tutu Atwell, and in many ways Jordan Whittington, then the fault lies on Sean McVay, who probably had to convince Les Snead to keep Tutu Atwell. That's where those targets are going, I have to believe. Demarcus Robinson, this is Willie Bowen. Demarcus Robinson is going to play with an overpaid quarterback. Yeah, I had somebody push back slightly saying Demarcus Robinson was going to be back with the Rams. But, after the Devontae Adams thing came through and the money they gave Tutu Atwell, it was very, very slim that Robinson was going to come back. He's gone to the 49ers. They're giving him what? 2 for $9.5. Reasonable deal. They're going to need him. But I'm kind of curious, though, are the 49ers not concerned about his legal hassles and what could be coming down the road? Bill, I was hoping the Rams would trade a couple of first-round picks for a good player. Hey, they got one, and they got him free, Bill. They got him in free agency. USA expat, I fully trust in Snead, myself included. I do too. Steve Ramirez, trading down should be the call. I actually did a mock draft today just to see if I can get a trade back. And actually, I had a buyer in the Patriots. We'll talk about that later. Tim Burns, Steve, I agree. If we keep it and Golden is there, we take the fastest guy in the draft. I prefer to trade back to mid-second. Steve, talking about technology. Thank you for commiserating with me there, Steve. Manny Correa is with us. Bill, wouldn't it be something if the Rams signed Keenan Allen? What a top 3 they would have on the field. I got to tell you, Bill, I don't want Keenan Allen. I think at this point, I think Keenan Allen is not going to give you anything that how do I say this? I want to see what Jordan Whittington and mostly what Tutu Atwell will give us getting those snaps. We know what Keenan Allen is, and I think we get that at a better rate with Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. So I actually thought, I was talking to Peterson over at Mid-Valley Sports, who covers the Chargers. I've actually thought that Keenan Allen makes better sense going to the Chargers than Cooper Kupp does. Let's see. Manny Correa, what's up? Okay, Manny, Willie, Bowen, Tim, and all. Everyone says hi. Mike Negretti says hi to me. Thank you, Mike. I'm ready to start the season. All right, I am too. Let's see. CJ Mosley would fit okay if healthy, maybe 6 rocks. Something to think about. Michael Negretti, goodbye, Cooper Kupp. Thanks for the memories. Tim Burns, I warned you guys last year, OBJ has bad videos. We dodged a bullet. He is going to prison soon. If OBJ goes to prison for something he did at the P. Diddy thing, he'll be the first cultural elite in our country to go to jail, because it seems like, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, it seems like nobody goes to jail, right? It's the opposite of National Treasure when Harvey Keitel says, hey, somebody's got to go to prison, Ben. Whatever it is, it seems like it's not our celebrities, our politicians, or our high-end athletes. Let's see, Mikey Gutierrez, what a wild week. Coop will go down as one of the greatest Rams ever. Absolutely. Mikey Gutierrez. Also, Jake Hummel to the Ravens. Okay, that happened today. I did not see that, Micah. Thank you for that update. Okay, Jake Hummel to the Ravens. There we go. Roseboom left today as well. Let's see. Willie Bowen and Tim are talking about OBJ. Tim Burns, guess the Kupp jersey goes to the Kuzma side of the jersey closet. Kupp will still be a 75, 807 TD guy. Do you think so, Tim? Man, that would be a complete opposite of what we saw at the end of last year. Manny Correa throwing names at us. Connecticut linebacker Joe Digula as a UDFA. All right, let's see. Tim Burns, the 49ers have lost 8 starters since the season ended. They are in a roster dump. They're definitely, if they're not in a dump, they're in a reset. Michael Negretti, no to Keenan Allen. He's hurt more than Kupp. USA expat, who's faster, Tutu or Xavier Smith? I would say Tutu, but they say Xavier Smith's got wheels. Willie Bowen, LeBrick James was a Patriot at Diddy's party. Yeah, and I don't think LeBrick James is going to jail either. That, you guys got it there. I think Mikey Gutierrez, you got it. I did not see the Jake Hummel loss, but Jake Hummel's gone. Christian Roseboom's gone. I have not heard anything regarding Troy Reeder. I'm guessing Troy Reeder is going to join the coaching staff. That would be my thinking. This leaves coming back to the Rams in the linebacker room. Just a real quick gander here. I was going to go over the roster, but I'm going to look at the linebacker room here. with Jake Hummel gone, you got Omar Spates, Elias Neal, and Tony Fields. And I think Fields is the former Brown. And that's it. That's it. Elias Neal actually made the active squad last year before I think he was released and then put on the practice squad. And we saw how well Omar Spates played. So yeah, I saw a mock draft today that had the Rams taking a UCLA linebacker that I had not heard of or heard of in the first round today. And so I could see the Rams spending some draft capital. High draft capital, I don't know. But fourth round draft capital, I can see the Rams doing something like that at linebacker, as they did 4 years ago with Ernest Jones. So something to think about there, because that's a lot of transition. I actually thought Hummel would be back. I was hoping for Roseboom, but I figured at his age and an opportunity to make more money, he would go. I thought Hummel would be back, but he has moved on. So a lot of talk going on in the linebacker room. Kupp, of course, we talked about that. Kupp has moved on. And then we want to look at the salary cap. Salary cap, as of right now, at over the cap. I don't know if they factored in the 7.5 rocks I think we're saving with Cooper Kupp. Right now, they've got the Rams at 23.8. That allows them to make some late moves in free agency. Obviously, it's more than enough to sign their draft class. And so the Rams are in pretty good shape going forward, even with the money they spent. And when you really look at it, right, these signings of Poona Ford and Devontae Adams, none of these deals are crushers. I mean, literally, you could probably get out of them after 1 year if you really wanted to. So these were really good deals. And I think these are players who are motivated to win, right? Adams had that really nice run in Green Bay, but, he was in all those playoff defeats. Poona Ford, he was with Seattle for a number of years, always competitive, playoff appearance here and there, but never really over the top into that deep playoff run where you're playing to go to the Super Bowl. And so I think these guys as their Devontae Adams, early 30s, Poona Ford, late 20s, getting ready to turn 30. These are guys that want to play for a title. And so, yeah, this is good news. Okay, let's look at the Rams offensive line again. Alaric Jackson, Steve Avila. As of right now, I say Bo Limmer, Kevin Dotson, and Rob Havenstein at right tackle. Coleman Shelton's with the Rams now. Coleman Shelton, of course, was starting center for the Rams. Started like a season and a half for the Rams, 2022, all of 2023. Very competent, very capable. But if he was next level, I don't know if the Bears would have moved off of him. And I've read some of the blogs about the Bears, and they were really happy to move off of Coleman Shelton. That was before they signed Drew Dahlman from the Falcons. Again, I think I addressed this with Bill on Monday's show. I like Coleman Shelton. But to me, I'm really hoping that Bo Limmer, I'm going to be really disappointed if Bo Limmer loses the job to Coleman Shelton, because it sounds like we're going back to 2023. I want to believe Bo Limmer is just at the start of becoming something better, right? And we saw a 6th rounder step in and have the confidence of his quarterback as a rookie. I got to believe we're just scratching the surface, or I want to believe we're just scratching the surface. I really don't want to revert back to Coleman Shelton. Now, the good thing about Shelton, though, he makes the squad and everything. He plays center and guard. So there's an available backup there when you're talking Steve Avila, Justin Dedich, when you're talking Kevin Dotson, we're also talking KT Leviston. And, that guy didn't play a down last year. I think the Rams are high on him. But Coleman Shelton's a nice insurance policy. And then, of course, the Rams did bring back Dylan McMahon, who I thought they weren't going to bring back. They signed him off the Philly practice squad, and he started week 18. He's the guy that put Mike McAllister in the street from Youngstown State that was with the Rams for about a season and a half on the practice squad. Looked like somebody the Rams were developing. So they liked Dylan McMahon. But so the Rams got some depth there on that offensive line. Before I do a quick review of some of the teams here and the moves they made and give some thoughts, let's look at our questions that have rolled in. And we'll see where we are at. Okay. Let's see. Okay, will Xavier Smith be in any offensive plays or red zone opportunities? You know, that's a good question, Willie, because that's why I thought Atwell was gone. You did see Xavier Smith getting some snaps, not a whole lot of snaps, but you saw him getting snaps on offense. And so I thought he was a little thicker than Tutu. Of course, he's lightning fast. But I thought Xavier Smith, plus he returns kicks. I thought he was the reason Atwell was going to be let go. Obviously, Atwell will cut into his snaps. We won't see maybe what we thought we'd see, or I thought I'd see. But I do like him. And I'm anxious to see what more he can do. Let's see. Tim Burns. I would give Xavier more touches than Whittington. His college film showed me speed, change of direction, and hands were superior. Really? Rams like Jordan Whittington. You know, that might be a moot point because he got hurt so much in college, but the Rams really, really like Jordan Whittington. And I think we're going to know. I had a mock draft today, and I'm looking at the mock draft, and when I had a chance to pick, Jake Besh was still there, the TCU guy, who I think, you know, he might not be the most talented guy, but he's the guy that most looks like a Ram. He fits the progression from Robert Woods to Cooper Kupp to Puka Nacua. He's one of those all-around, all-purpose. He's the Hines Ward of this generation type of kind of build there. And so I'm looking at him there, and I'm thinking if the Rams take him, yeah, that's a statement, a little bit of a statement that they're not totally oversold on Jordan Whittington. Atwell's a 1-year contract, and but they do need depth there. But I'm curious if the Rams wait until late on the second day to draft a receiver. I'm thinking they're happy with Jordan Whittington. I think they're believing in Jordan Whittington. If they draft one sooner, I think they're hedging their bets. And again, Devontae Adams on a 2-year deal. Puka Nacua, you got 2 years left before he gets a big contract, and we're going to see what kind of shape physically he's in at the end of 2 years. And Atwell's on a 1-year deal. So any guy you draft is a guy that you want to think for the long term. That's going to be a real interesting thing to see how it plays out. Micah Gutierrez, my gut tells me they sign a veteran linebacker via trade or free agency, but I'm happy with drafting a stud rookie. Who's left out there? Is there? We got like a top 5 linebackers. I did not look that up. I'll make that a Friday project. Michael Negretti. Poona Ford will clog the middle. Puka Nacua will unclog the middle on offense. Okay. Tim Burns, the way free agency is shaping the NFC West, we have to be the favorites. Oh, I thought we were the favorites ahead of this, but even more so now. Until that Frisco, unless did I miss something? Did Frisco get Purdy under contract? He's already under contract to play this year, but long term, Rams are in better shape than all these teams. Their offensive line is pretty much fixed. Their quarterback is elite. Their receiving room is fixed. Their edge rushers are fixed. I mean, they're in great shape right now. And so, yeah, I think the NFC is in a lot of flux. Again, my thing is, I think the team to keep an eye on is the Cardinals. And the only thing holding back the Cardinals to me is Kyler Murray. So there we go. USA expat. Whittington always shows off his ex-running back skills after the catch. Yeah, almost looks like Nacua. There you go, USA expat. Mikey Gutierrez. Even though Adams replaces Kupp as the number 2, I think Adam is a great schematic fit for the position that D-Rob played on the outside. I prefer Whittington and Kupp's old spot, but I'm cheering for Tutu. I think Whittington and Tutu will share. Adams and Nacua, whether they're 1-1s, 1A, 1B, I guess Devontae would be a 2 at this point, maybe. Those guys are going to get snaps, especially, again, trying to figure out what wrinkles McVay's going to put in as he says he wants the offense more dynamic, more explosive. Willie Bowen, LA Rams will dominate the NFC West and Lombardi Trophy recipients. Okay, there you go. I'll buy it. Thank you so much. All right, let's keep rolling here. Let's do around the NFL and other places. Let me just work through this again. I like to keep it fresh, who's where. Minnesota re-signed Aaron Jones. They signed cornerback Isaiah Rodgers. kind of a standout year with the Colts in 2022, missed all of 2023, picked up a ring in Philly last year. He's going to Minnesota. He is a talented corner. Jonathan Allen, who was let go by the Redskins or the Taxkins, and Javon Hargrave. So Kevin O'Connell right there with Isaiah Rodgers and 2 down linemen on the defense looking to upgrade their defense. Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen got that massive contract. They re-signed Greg Rousseau. They took Larry Ogunjobi, the DT from Pittsburgh, and they signed Joey Bosa, 1 year, 12 rocks, and they took Michael Hoyt. I was actually driving around today. Actually, I was going to the hospital. I guess I should take that off. I heard Michael Hoyt being interviewed by DeMarco Farr and Travis Rogers. That was the first time I heard Hoyt interviewed, and they were hitting it, and I was feeling it. I was feeling it on Monday when I heard the news. I was hoping it wasn't going to happen. Hoyt's going to be a big loss. I really am going to miss Hoyt, and I think Hoyt's departure requires the Rams to look one more time, either in the draft or that ex-Buffalo Bill, Von Miller, to see if Von Miller will come for some pennies on the dollar. The Rams are going to need that third guy, and I don't think Nick Hampton and Brennan Carnage Jackson are there yet to be that guy, unless the Rams know something, which they obviously always do. But Hoyt was excellent on special teams, blocking kicks. Hoyt could put his hand in the dirt, and of course, he was good coming off the edge. So Bills upgraded quite a bit. Greg Rousseau, Joey Bosa, Michael Hoyt, they did a good job. Broncos signed Talanoa Hufanga, which is awesome. He's gone from the 49ers, and they signed Dre Greenlaw from the 49ers. They did lose Javonte Williams to the Cowboys at running back, but they signed former Jaguars tight end Evan Ingram, who a couple of you guys mentioned the Rams should have been interested in. But that's a good move for them. That's getting a little piece there for Bo Nix. Ingram can play. Chiefs brought back Hollywood Brown, Nick Bolton, and they signed Elijah Mitchell. They also, from the 49ers, they also signed the guy that replaced Trenton Williams last year, Jalen Moore, at left tackle. And I think that's a bit of a reach, but they signed him. And they signed former Packer tight end Robert Tonyan. That one, Tanyan's been bouncing around since I think he had, a knee injury several years ago. Lions picked up DJ Reed. That was a good move for them. Packers picked up former 49er left guard Aaron Banks. Colts signed Daniel Jones and former 49er cornerback Javarius Ward. Yeah. They said Ward wanted off the West Coast, and he went to Indy. Daniel Jones is interesting. It's interesting. He's with Shane Steichen, and Steichen's pretty good with those mobile quarterbacks. And we're going to see, boy, if Anthony Richardson struggles keeping Daniel Jones on the pine, then I think the jury is going to be in on Anthony Richardson. Dolphins signed Zach Wilson. I think that guy's got some talent still. Chargers re-signed Khalil Mack, and I think when I left the air on Monday, I was saying that I'm not sure what the Chargers and Cowboys are doing. I'm kind of lost here. And then the Chargers scored Najee Harris. That was a great move for them. Another significant loss for Steeler fan Rob in Missouri, who was moaning quite a bit on our sidebar conversation. And they also signed former Steeler, former, I think, Panther cornerback Dante Jackson. So the Chargers got in the game. They just got to get a receiver. And I don't think Cooper Kupp's the answer, but they might. Giants got Javon Holland, and they're still in the fight along, I think, with the Steelers for Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson, how fast the world changes, right? You go back to, 2020, Rodgers is winning MVP votes or MVPs, and Russell Wilson's an elite quarterback in the NFL, and now they're quarterbacks without a home. Patriots signed Harold Landry, Morgan Moses, Milton Williams, and they also signed cornerback Carlton Davis, which I mentioned that on Monday, but you're pairing him with Christian Gonzalez, and it'll be interesting to see who the Patriots bring in to help with Drake May. They signed Morgan Moses to play right tackle. So many of the trends in the mock drafts have them bringing Will Campbell in from LSU. Jets signed Justin Fields. Okay, right. Bears, we know. We talked about what they did with Drew Dahlman, Jonah Jackson, Joe Thuney. Seahawks, I think I was off the air when they signed Sam Darnold, or I was just going off the air on Monday. They signed Sam Darnold. Ernest Jones was re-signed by them, Jaron Reed, and they signed former Cowboy DeMarcus Lawrence. Lawrence spent 12 years in Dallas. He was the DeMarcus that followed DeMarcus Ware, and a good player, not as good as DeMarcus Ware, and he's been injured quite a bit. But that's a nice move for Seattle to see if he's got anything left in the tank, and I'm sure DeMarcus Lawrence is really happy to be out of Dallas. Steelers did sign Darius Slay, but they lost Ogunjobi, Dan Moore, left tackle, Najee Harris, Justin Fields, and even Steeler fan Rob is wondering what's going on in Steeltown. Cowboys did sign former Bronco running back Javonte Williams. Looked like he was going to be special until that knee injury. Cardinals re-signed Evan Brown, but they also signed Josh Sweat, and Jacoby Brissett joins a new team. Again, I think this is like 6 teams in 6 years for Jacoby Brissett. Have gun will travel. Browns have designated Dalvin Tomlinson as a post-June 1st release, and they've traded DTR to Philly for Kenny Pickett. Let's see what else we got here. Buccaneers re-signed former Ram Craig Gaines to go along with Chris Godwin and Hassan Reddick. Texans traded Laramie Tunsil, that tackle, to the Taxskins, which really was interesting because they moved Tunsil and they get a 3rd rounder in 2025, a 7th rounder in 2025, and a 2nd and a 4th in next year's draft. And I'm just wondering, because the Texans had trouble protecting C.J. Stroud, are they just thinking that maybe they've seen the best of Tunsil? They're probably going to go tackle in this draft. And they made a move for Christian Kirk. They traded for Christian Kirk. They need some weapons. But I was just interesting. They traded Tunsil. Maybe they think they can go younger and save some money cap-wise. Taxkins signed Javon Kinlaw, and they brought back Marcus Mariota. Panthers retained J.C. Horn. They took Bobby Brown and Christian Roseboom from the Rams. Former Ram Johnny Munt signed with the Jaguars. Former Rams Johnny Hecker and Van Jefferson both signed with the Titans. And former Ram Leonard Floyd, put in the street by the 49ers, he signed with Raheem Morris and the Atlanta Falcons. Ravens signed Ronnie Stanley the other day. Yesterday, they signed DeAndre Hopkins. So I think we got it all in there. Yeah, there we go. I'm Joe Terosian, a sports writer for 21 years. And thanks to our sponsors at Kistler Law, we get to do RamView. I write books. And so between our sponsors and my books, which you can find on Amazon, I've written three football novels. 2 of them are high school novels about football. Find them there. They allow me to stay in my day job at Burbank Faith as I pastor a small church called Burbank Faith Naz in Burbank. And we're right here on YouTube at Burbank Faith Virtual, as well as burbankfaithvirtual.com and all across social media. So check us out if you get a chance. We appreciate your support. No paywall here, no Patreon account, just doing what we need to do to keep putting out the show, keeping a roof over my head. All right. We saw the new league year has already started. Another date was there. It's like Rams got to get rid of Cooper Kupp before his roster bonus comes. The Rams took care of that. Let's see here. Yeah, next thing is league meetings start March 30th. And then, of course, a month from that, April 24th is the NFL draft. And I proposed on Monday's shows that I thought the activity this Monday and these last 2 days was the most free agent movement I've seen in a long time. And I was wondering if that's indicative of how people feel about the draft. And if they feel this way about the draft, they might not really want to move up in the draft, which means could make it hard for the Rams to move back. We're going to look at the Rams roster, talk about the draft here in a second, but let's take a look at who is on the air. All right, let's see. Tim Burns, Kirk Cousins is a possibility in San Francisco. Oh, for Steeler fan Rob's team, they are a quarterback mess. They are a quarterback mess. I agree. Micah Gutierrez, Von Miller would be, fantastic mentor for Verse and Young. I think it would be really fascinating. Really, really fascinating. Let's see. Excuse me. Bill, Walter Football, good site, Walter Football, has Jack Gibbons and C.J. Mosley has the best two inside linebackers left. I've always had a soft spot for C.J., and I know Burns suggested him at 6 Rocks, but if those are the two, yeah, again, we don't know what the Rams are going to do. It'll be curious to see. Tim Burns, Micah, I agree. He still had 6 sacks in 13 games. I like getting Vaughn as an idea. The thing was about Von Miller, didn't they give him 6 years at 133? Because he was set to come back with the Rams, but the Bills came in with this massive offer after that Super Bowl season, and he couldn't turn it down. And I agree, he couldn't turn it down. And now maybe he wants to come back and get a 3rd ring, huh? Gonna go for a 3rd ring. Let's see. Tim Burns, okay, he agrees with them. Tim Burns, GM Joe, as of today, you have 26. What do you do with it? And what position are you drafting first? Well, I've been the last one to say this. I've been the last one to say this because I'm for trading back and loading up, but the Rams have done such a good job hitting their needs this offseason to this point that I think it did open the door for a cornerback to be drafted early. I think it does open a door, maybe because of these moves. Jay Kummel, again, that one surprised me. Christian Roseboom and possibly Troy Reeder moving on. It does open the door for a linebacker to be there and be drafted. So yeah, I did make a deal. What I did, I'll do that, Mr. Burns, since you brought it up. I'll hit it real quick here. So what I did was I looked at the Rams. They solidified, where they'll be drafting with comp picks and everything and such. The Rams have 8 draft picks, 26, 90, number 101, number 127, number 190, 195, 201, and 202. Those are all 6th-round picks. There's no 7th-round pick as of now. So I was able, I went on to see if anyone made me an offer to move back. The Patriots took number 26, which makes sense for them, is maybe they get their offensive lineman, that Will Campbell from LSU, and then they send other stuff out to try to get a high-end piece at number 26 for Drake May. But I was able to get number 26 sent to the Patriots. I was able to get their 38th, their 69th, and their 270th pick overall. And I went back and forth on this because I'm a believer that maybe there's something about Emmanuel Forbes that's going to pop up that no one's talking about. And if that happens, if Emmanuel Forbes, like I said, ends up becoming Pro Bowl caliber next year, then I'm going to be the most miserable person to be around because I will never stop talking about it. But with that said, I took at number 38 because he was there, Maxwell Harrison, the cornerback from Kentucky. And because him and Deion Walker had their pro day yesterday. Harrison didn't work out because I think he had worked out at the combine. All of his measurables fit the Rams' parameters in terms of height, weight, jumping, and speed. And so I took him at number 38. And then I took the Minnesota offensive lineman, Arante Ursary, at number 69. Then, to your credit there, Mr. Burns, I took Savion Williams out of TCU because he was a playmaker. Then I took Deion Walker because he was there at number 101. And then I took Colorado State wide receiver Tony Horton because the Rams have interviewed him. And so I went cornerback. And I know I'm the one that's been honking for Emmanuel Forbes, but I just felt like, man, the Eagles hit big time with was it Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean last year, and DeJean wasn't drafted until late 2nd, early 3rd. And I know you were hot, Mr. Burns, on Cooper DeJean. So I thought, why not the Rams? Maybe we can get some guy because we do have Akilla Witherspoon comes back. He's got age, right? Darius Williams comes back, plays like he did last year, really solid. He's got age. And then Kobe Durant, this is the last year of his contract. He becomes a free agent after this year. So, yeah, whether or not Forbes is what maybe I think and hope he could be, you're still going to need another corner and maybe get a younger guy. And we don't know what Darian Kendrick's going to do. THT's out in the street. Josh Wallace and Charles Woods are UDFAs, but they're UDFAs for a reason, even if you get clicks out of them. So something to think about there. I took off my GM hat. Tim Burns talking to Bill. CJ would be nice if he isn't hurt. He was captain last year, so he has the smarts to run the defense if needed. Yeah, I got no problem as long as it doesn't cost any money. Micah Gutierrez, I would like to see a Kilo or another cornerback signed soon. Would be nice to get that squared away. Micah Gutierrez, any linebacker, OT, or CBA drafted in the first round would be a good pick. Bill, does Noteboom have any trade value? No, I don't think so. I don't think he has any value at all. And technically, I think his contract, because of the adjustments, this year's is voided. So the Rams owe him money, but he is a free agent. And I haven't heard any buzz on him. I think he's really he's played himself out of any real interest. He's going to have to work his way back into the graces of teams that are dreaming about him being what they thought he could be. So, I don't think he has any trade value at all. Let's see. Tim Burns, it kind of feels like everyone wraps up time on contract in 2 years. Are we rebuilding then? Yeah, when I was pushing it hard last year after we lost to the Lions and we were so close, a kicker and a edge player away, that I said 2024, 2025, and 2026 is the Rams window, because you couldn't logically project Matthew Stafford going beyond 2026. When they signed Jonah Jackson, I was honking, great signing. You got Jonah Jackson, Steve Avila, who's going to be the center. His rookie deal ends after 2026. Jackson was signed through 2026, and Kevin Dotson, after his contract was redone, was through 2026. And so all of the excuse me, all the stuff pointed to 2026 being the last year of the window. So yeah, I understand why they're doing these 2-year deals. If Devontae Adams is terrific, then you got him back in 2026. Same thing. I think it's 3 years with Poona Ford, but all these deals are pretty much set up because of the guaranteed money, is that they could be a one and done if they whiffs. And I don't think anyone gives the Rams credit for that, in terms of, yeah, they gave contracts to these guys and maybe they whiffed on some of these things, but you know what? They are structured in such a way that they don't do permanent damage, right? It's not Anthony Rendon the Rams are signing, right? And giving Anthony Rendon deals out there. Michael DeGretti, Pastor Joe, should the Rams take a flyer on linebacker Eric Kendricks? No, I don't think so. I wouldn't. Manny Correa, I wouldn't mind Kazir White. Kazir White is different. He's different. I'd take a run at him better than Eric Kendricks. I think Kendricks has limitations at this point. But Kazir White, he played well for Gannon there with the Cardinals. He came there from Philly, and he's a free agent right now. I don't know what their plans are for him, if they're going to bring him back. But I kind of like Kazir a little bit better than Kendricks. A few years ago, Kendricks, I'm all down with the get down on him. All right, so this is what we're going to do. I thought it would be good just to look at the Rams roster right now and who's there. And I might biff one here, but and then I've got, excuse me, how many they took to the active roster. Now, the quarterback's a little different situation. Stetson Bennett right now would be free. Means he dresses, but he doesn't play unless somebody gets hurt. So Stafford, Garoppolo, that's solid. I think we're all feeling good about that. Running backs, Kyron Williams, Blake Corum, Cody Schrader. As of right now, Ronnie Rivers is a free agent. We have not heard anything on Ronnie Rivers. And the Rams did sign Royce Freeman this offseason and put him on the practice squad. So he's still with the club. Rams generally, I think they kept 3 to 4 last year, running backs. Wide receivers, we talked about Nakua, Adams, Whittington, Atwell, and then the guys that were practice squad guys, Drake Stoops and Quintus Cephas. And then you work in Xavier Smith in there. He's kind of like our, oh my goodness. Anyway, he's the return guy. The guy that went to Minnesota, his name is Powell, that went to Minnesota, and I want to call him Bailey Powell. But Powell that went to Minnesota, he was the Rams kick returner, and then in 2022, they worked him into the offense more. I think that's Xavier Smith's role. Hunter Long is gone, so the Rams right now have 3 tight ends, Davis Allen, Colby Parkinson, and Tyler Higbee. Offensive line right now, At center, I've got Bo Limmer, Dylan McMahon, then Coleman Shelton. By the way, Coleman Shelton has worked himself into a career here as an undrafted free agent, okay? And he can play center and guard. Guards, I've got Dotson, Avila, Justin Dedich, KT Leviston. Tackles, I got Alaric Jackson, Rob Havenstein, Warren McClendon, AJ McCurry, who was a 7th-round pick, 3 years ago? And then Connor McDermott, who was signed but didn't play last year. He was on the practice squad the whole year. The defensive interior looks really good right now. You got Kobe Turner, Braden Fisk, Poona Ford, Tank Davis. And you tell me, did we not get clicks out of DeSwan Johnson last year? We certainly did. And then, of course, there's Corey Durden and David Olajigi. Olajigi is I think he's a Brit. He's the European. He's the one that doesn't count against the practice squad limit of 16. You could have 17 if you have a European guy on there. And that's not counting Neville Gallimore, who's a free agent right now, and the same thing with Laurel Murchison. And I think we really like Neville Gallimore down the stretch there. But if those guys don't come back and you got Fisk, Ford, Davis, Turner, and DeJuan Johnson, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. I'd still like to add a Deion Walker to that mix from Kentucky, but we'll go to that from what we have there. The cornerback room, Kobe Durant, all right, Darius Williams. These are the guys that played. Akilla Witherspoon. Okay, those are the key three. Josh Wallace, an undrafted free agent, got playing time. Charles Woods, an undrafted free agent, made the active roster, got cut to be put on the practice squad. And then there's Emmanuel Forbes, who's there. Darian Kendrick, who's coming back. THT is gone. And then you've got the perennial Sean Jolly, dude named AJ Green, not the AJ Green. And then Cam Lampkin, the Washington State guy who the Rams signed to the practice squad. I'd be interested to see how he pans out. But there's the cornerback room. Linebackers, as far as I got right now, Omar Spates, Elias Neal, Tony Fields. Troy Reeder hasn't signed anywhere, but I got to believe his time has come. At safety, you got Cam Curl, Quentin Lake, Cam Kitchens. Preach, right? Jalen McCullough, who played well. Tanner Engel, he must be rooming with Sean Jolly because these guys have been around forever on that practice squad. And then the wild card there is free agent John Johnson III. He's one of those guys I can see the Rams signing when camp rolls around, right? You're gonna hang on. Yeah, we'll take you. That's how I see that playing out. The edge, Jared Verse, Byron Young, and that's where it gets a little tricky because last year you could work in a Michael Hoyt, which was nice. Now you're dealing with Nick Hampton, Brennan Jackson, 2 5th-round picks back-to-back. I think one in Hampton 2023, Jackson 2024. And then another perennial practice squad guy, Kier Thomas, who Michael Hoyt mentioned today. So someone there just to keep in mind. Again, a lot of nice things here. I think the most bleak looking room probably is linebacker outside of Spates. So that leads me to believe that they could be drafting a linebacker. Also led me to believe because of the age on some of these guys, Durant's going to be in his 4th year. Josh Wallace, Charles Woods are undrafted free agent. Darius Williams is in his 30s. And Akilla Witherspoon is pushing 30 if he's not there already. Emmanuel Forbes, we don't know about. Darian Kendrick will be in his last year of his contract. And then also with the knee injury coming back, So I don't know if they restart his clock, if they give him back his year on his contract to push back him being a free agent. I know there was that talk about that when it came up with Cam Akers when he went out initially with his Achilles injuries, that his 4th year wouldn't be his free agent year or something there about that. Josh Carty, the guy we're not talking about this offseason because he did us good. Ethan Evans, the guy we're not talking about. Alex Ward, the guy we're not talking about. Rams are feeling pretty good about their key special team guys. All right, let's see what else we got here. Manuel Correa, CJ West, Indiana, and Zeke Biggers, Georgia Tech. There you go. You're pushing the Zeke Biggers thing. I think we talked about him. Michael Negretti, Pastor Joe, you need to give up smoking for Lent season. You cough too much. It's I got sick, and yeah, I guess I do cough too much. I don't know. I think it's 'tis the season, man. I'm working on it. Give me a break there, Michael. Tim Burns, RamView rumor has it Brian Smith's mom grounded him for stealing her Prius. Oh man, you're taking shots, and took his phone away so he can't be on today to be I'll listen to you, Mr. Burns, taking a shot. Manny Correa. Let's add Tyler Beatty, BYU, late in the draft. Okay, keep pushing the Tyler Beatty. Manuel Correa, let's draft Jeffrey Bassa or Teddy Buchanan. All right, there you go. Tim Burns. Manny, I saw Matthew Solopik's film you talked about. He had a great college career. He is down the list only because he plays in the MAC. All right. Michael Negretti, Pastor Joe, I'm just playing around. You're cool. You know, I am coughing a lot. I am aware that I have been coughing a lot. It's just waiting to clear things up. You know, my doctor says I should take up smoking because I'm not getting enough tar in my lungs. There you go. Old Steve Martin joke. All right. So the Rams got picks 26, 90, 101, 127, 190, 195, 201, and 202. Really, that is not bad, except for the gap from 26 to 90 and 127 to 190. That's 8 picks in a draft for a team that won the division, improved through free agency, has most of its positions settled. They can draft some depth here. They can draft some pieces here. So this is really, really good news. Again, love to see them move back, pick up that extra draft pick in the top 100. All right, mock draft. I found a CBS mock draft, and they have the Giants trading up with the Titans for the number 1 pick, and the Giants taking Cam Ward. I guess there was a rumor, was it Schrager that put it out? I heard it in a bunch of different places that Aaron Rodgers would make his decision in 4 weeks. Do you think any of these teams are going to wait that long? I don't think so. So the Giants in the mock draft that CBS Sports posted yesterday or earlier today, they have Cam Ward going to the Giants at number 1. The Browns taking Travis Hunter. Titans taking Abdul Carter, Penn State. Patriots taking Will Campbell. So they get that left tackle to pair with Morgan Moses, the right tackle. And now they want to send some draft capital to the Rams to go number 26 to draft a weapon for Drake May. So that would be kind of cool. Jaguars, Michigan defensive tackle Mason Graham. Raiders taking Ashton Genty. And that's a pretty good move there. If you got Geno Smith, you bring in Ashton Genty. You got a fair offensive line there in Oakland or in Las Vegas. That's a good start, right? I did hear that. I did hear on one was it a podcast or one link I saw projecting that the Bears that Ben Johnson was going to make a move to go and grab Ashton Genty to pair with DeAndre Swift in that Bears backfield and take more pressure off of Caleb Williams. And of course, Johnson was the one that put together those running backs in Detroit that made it all work so well. Jets taking Tataria McMillan to pair with Garrett Wilson and for Justin Fields. Armand Menbu going to the States at 9. At number 10, this draft projected Tyler Warren going to the Bears. That's another thing you could see Ben Johnson doing. You know, they really made use of Sam Laporta there. If you're going to see a repeat of that Detroit offense. Mock draft has James Pierce from Tennessee going to the 49ers on the edge. Jahdae Barron of, I think it's Texas, going to the Cowboys. I think, is he Texas, Jahdae Barron? And then let's just keep moving down. The Cardinals taking Luther Burden from Missouri at 16. Seahawks grabbing Colston Loveland at number 18. Matthew Golden going to the Broncos at number 20. Omarion Hampton going to the Steelers at number 21. So Steeler fan Rob gets a replacement for Najee Harris. Nick Emanawari, the South Carolina safety that I think Manny Correa is high on, goes to the Chargers in the draft. And then let's see here, Will Johnson, high-end cornerback for Michigan, goes to the Vikings. Josh Simmons going to the Texans, the Ohio State left tackle, hopefully, probably to compensate for Laramie Tunsil. And then this was the weird one. I'll let Steve Ramirez, he's a UCLA guy, or anybody out there that knows, they had the Rams taking Carson Schweisinger, linebacker, UCLA, 6'3", 242 at number 26 overall. I have not seen Schweisinger anyplace. I mean, at least I haven't. Maybe you guys have. at number 26? Couldn't he be someone that you could trade back and get? I'm kind of curious about that. Let's see. Moving back further, yeah, all these things are the same. The one thing this mock draft did, though, because of the Jets taking, I guess, Justin Fields, because of the Raiders moving for Geno Smith, one of the things this draft did, it put Shedeur Sanders out of the first round. So let me ask you this, Ram fans. If that happened, and I got that Patriot deal to where the Rams got number 38 overall, and Shedeur Sanders was sitting there, would you draft Shedeur Sanders? Would you draft him? That'd be pretty interesting to see that would happen. I think if you want to win now, you wouldn't. You grab another piece. But if you're thinking beyond 2026, would you draft Shedeur Sanders? There you go. Let's see. Micah Gutierrez. Rodgers still thinks he's the belle of the ball. Every team will have their starting quarterback by the time his ayahuasca clears out of his system. I agree. Tim Burns. I think Salopek is a gem as a UDFA. Too many quality linebackers have film versus elite schools, while Salopek only played 3 of 60 games versus a ranked team. One of the things about these linebackers is they've been going the same route up to this point that the safeties were going, because everyone was playing the too high, right? And stopping the run wasn't a premium. So it'll be interesting to see. How can you imagine an Omar Speights not getting drafted, right? Omar Speights should have been drafted, but I'm wondering if the pendulum's going to swing and some of these linebackers, like you're mentioning here, Tim and Manny, could these guys get drafted where in other years they wouldn't get drafted? Mikey Gutierrez, Cam Scatterbo would be a fantastic fit for Pittsburgh. He would be. Manny Correa, I like DJ Giddens, Kansas State running back. Tim Burns, you have to take Sanders if he's there at 26. What if he's there at 38 and I trade back, Mr. Burns? What if he's there? Do you draft him? And can he be quiet for 2 years? That's my thing. Can he be quiet? He's a senator. I know Ryan Clark will now call me a racist, right? Ryan Clark declared everybody who's talking about Shedeur Sanders as racist and everything. So Ryan Clark, he's like the guy. He's like the inside mole. I think the Trump campaign probably has Ryan. The Trump people have Ryan Clark on payroll. Say, hey, we keep giving you this money. Keep saying really stupid things, right? And just bury ESPN forever. It was just a really stupid stretch that Ryan Clark was saying that about Shedeur Sanders not being drafted when he's black. Have you seen the quarterbacks? Both quarterbacks in the Super Bowl were black, right? Lamar Jackson's black. Do I have to go over this list? Geno Smith is black. Do we have to keep going over this? Justin Fields is black. What is this deal here? And Ryan Clark is just absolutely brain dead, or he's on some conservative group's payroll to say, hey, destroy ESPN, keep being stupid. I think added to that payroll was Angel Reese. Angel Reese was out of that payroll too. Wouldn't it be great to see the WNBA go on strike? I think that would be awesome. I think that would be great. There you go. Okay, let's see. Steve Ramirez. Schweisinger was all Big Ten, and I believe he led the Big Ten in tackles. He's a football rat, but can't see him going before day 3. There you go. Is he better than Sawyer at Ohio State? Steve? I'm sure you know. Jack Sawyer, the Ohio State linebacker, is Schweisinger better than him? I think he might be taller, but I don't know if he's better than him. Ryan Clark wears brooches. Okay. All right. We got that in. We are at the 50-minute mark. My man. You guys are a lot of fun. Let's look at this real quick here. March 12th, nothing too big happened. March 13th, former Ram Jackie Wallace was born in 1951. Wallace was with the Vikings and Colts, fumbled a punt against the Cowboys in the NFC Championship game in 78. Born tomorrow in 1965, he turns 59, he turns 60 tomorrow. Former Ram wide receiver Aaron Cox, 20th overall, 1988 out of Arizona State. He was part of the draft package that the Rams got for Eric Dickerson. And when they drafted him, and I thought, whoa, all right, you're going to put him alongside Henry Ellard. This is going to be great. 5 seasons with the Rams, 71 games, 28 starts. Aaron Cox caught 98 passes for 8 touchdowns. Now he seemed bigger, but they listed him at 5'9", 174. Tutu Atwell is officially listed at 5'9", 165. Maybe Aaron Cox seemed bigger because the players weren't as big. Everyone else wasn't as big then. But Aaron Cox was an extreme disappointment. I think he eventually got a cup of coffee with the Colts and didn't do anything. But literally, he lost his job. He lost his job to Flipper Anderson, who the Rams got him in a draft trade, a pick. They got his draft pick from the Chargers in the Barry Redden deal. I think that's also they got Buford McGee, and they used the draft pick to take Flipper Anderson, and he immediately passed Aaron Cox on the draft, the depth chart by 1988. So yeah, Aaron Cox was a bit of a disappointment. And former Ram linebacker Jolon Dunbar played for them in St. Louis for a couple of years, had one really good year, and then he kind of broke down after that. But Jolon Dunbar, he turns 40 tomorrow. So there you go. That's how quick the NFL ends for these guys. All right, let's take a few more questions here before I allow you guys to blow. And hanging out with you has been a lot of fun. Let's see. Tim Burns, WNBA sits out. The NBA has an out from that train wreck. Absolutely. They do. And that's the bummer. I mean, I got to admit, I'm not going to be a complete jerk. Caitlin Clark's fun to watch. Juju Watkins is a lot of fun to watch. Some of those ones, it's not bad. I'll watch some of it. It's just when they tell me it's great ball, it's not great ball. And, women's basketball to me was better a few years ago because I don't know, how do you say it? I thought they were fundamentally sound. And fundamentally sound basketball, you sound like Bill Walton. It's beautiful to watch, right? And the more they try to up-tempo the game like it's a men's game, I get bored with it. Clark can do it. I think Juju Watkins can do it. But what are they selling us with Angel Reese? I don't know what they know what they're selling us with Angel Reese. Tim Beards, the NBA folds the league a year and revamps it minus all the testosterone buildup. Okay. All right. Okay, guys. I think we got all that in there. Let's see. Steve Ramirez. Sawyer's a better athlete, but Schweisinger is a good fit, is good at finding the ball, just a good football player. Okay. So if Sawyer was there at 127, Steve, if Sawyer was there at 127, would you grab him? Not Sawyer. Forgive me, Steve. Schweisinger. If he was there at 127, would you take him? Because I've seen Sawyer going top 50. But if Schweisinger was there at 127, fourth round, would you take him? Because I had the Rams taking a linebacker at number 127. I think the Notre Dame kid, Kaiser, in a previous mock draft. Would you take him? So I'm going to hold on here, wait for Steve Ramirez's answer. We still got an audience. We've gone long. Let's see. DHP. All right. What do you know about the Rams getting new uniforms? I hope it's the old gold ones from the 60s and 90s. DHP, I do not know. I do not know what's going to happen. I got to tell you that I've been disappointed with every Rams jersey decision going back to they win the Super Bowl in the traditional blue and gold and then immediately go to the antique gold the following year. And I know those things are in motion for a couple of years. Honestly, I really just wish they would go back to that blue and gold that they had there in the 70s and 80s. And it's iconic, right? And I'll give credit to Steeler fan Rob. You don't see the Steelers screwing around with their uniform, right? You don't see the Cowboys screwing around with their uniform. You don't see the Packers screwing around with their uniform. Bears do a little bit, but you want to start something. If there's anything the Rams need, is they need that tradition and they need that meat and potato stuff. And again, you got to move away. If you really want a fan base that's rabid, you want a fan base that's going to love you no matter what. You want a fan base that's going to be passionate like the Eagles fans are. Maybe they're not always perfect, but it's going to be passionate like the Packers fans, the Steelers fans, the Cowboys fans. You want a fan base that's passionate like that, you got to build into it some of this blue collar. Hey, no, these are our colors, and the horse you rode in on if you want us to wear anything else. But they think because they're in LA, they gotta automatically adhere to the LA style, and you don't have to. It's football. Football is the selling point. And if you want to build a fan base, you got to do that kind of stuff. You got to move away from the celebrities. Let the Lakers have the celebrities. There's no substance in some of these other leagues. Football is substantial on its own. It's the substance. Football is the substance here. No push for a movie. But they need that tradition. They need that consistency. They need that kind of stuff. And the other teams that have that rabid fan base, they do that. They're not farting around with their uniforms. And every time I've seen the Rams talk about a uniform change, they always screw it up, right? They always screw it up. So, yeah, that's my take on that. It does work for me. Let's see. Steve Ramirez on Schweisinger. Only if Kaiser is gone. Okay. All right. So you do think, is Schweisinger worth a 4th-round pick? I'll throw that one out there. And Steve will take Lauren Betts. So there you go. DHP. I hope that answered your question there, DHP. Steve Ramirez. Rams need to bring back the 70s, 80s, and maybe the 60s whites a couple times a year. Let that be your throwback, right? You know, instead of the mustard, you know, bring back the blue and whites for your retro, your throwback stuff, right? I think the Rams fan base was probably better there in the 60s with those blue and whites than they were even in the 70s. And, you know, you guys have heard me say it. Rams have lousy fans. There's a few of them like us that are diehard, but by and large, they are fair weather and they are going to move on the second that the show changes. And I would stop feeding them. Let them move on now. Let them move on now. You know, Tim Burns, the mustard was hideous. I do. I think so too. I think the only thing that creates a good memory about the mustard colors is that the Rams were wearing that the night they beat the Chiefs at the Coliseum. I think that's what creates the great, engenders the great thought about that. So, all right, we went an hour, guys. I usually don't go an hour. I know we got an audience. I hate to leave you. Guys, I am considering upping the ante a little bit. I won't do a show like this. Monday, Wednesday, Friday will be RamView, but I am considering doing a sportscast in the morning for 15 minutes. I probably won't do a whole lot of questions, just give some sports takes and stuff. And I think that's going to come real soon and everything. Tim Burns, great show, Joe T. Thank you so much. So don't be mad at me if, like, you know, you click on, you know, and it's like, oh, the show ended. I didn't know you were on. I know our whole thing here is we do live. We're doing the live stream and we're interacting. And we're still going to keep that Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But I just feel like there's other sports stuff to talk about. We can talk about Rams. We'll talk about football maybe for about 15 minutes on Tuesday and Thursday. I just need to up my game a little bit, I think, and go from there. I'm really enjoying this. So thank you. You know, thanks for everything, guys. Check out my books. They're on Amazon. And we will see you on Friday. We'll load this up on from the RamCave on Spotify. God bless, guys. Take care. Thanks for the support.